Hello friends, relationship series part 3. Today's topic is very interesting. It's ego. So, ego usually is the sense of identity that we have. It is neither positive nor negative. We have associated a negative sense to ego, saying that it's not good, we should let go of our ego. But as a child, if you see, if we don't have a sense of identity, we would all be representing ourselves as third person. So as children usually refer to them when they are themselves when they are very young, is they call their names and say Pooja wants this, Pooja wants to go out, and that's when the parents introduce the word I to the child. That's when they make him realize about his sense of identity. So that is when the ego develops. Now when you hear this out, this is not positive neither negative. This is a neutral part. When I'm addressing myself and I'm just saying I. Ego becomes negative is when we attach a thought pattern to the I. So my sense of identity now revolves around the world, or the world should revolve around my sense of identity. That's when it crosses over from neutral phase to a negative zone. So usually, if I have to explain this to you, the easier way is, if a boy says I am a boy, that's fine. There is no ego in that. It's a fact. If a boy is a boy, a girl is a girl, that's a fact. But when a boy says that I am a boy and that's why I am strong, I am a girl and that is why I am physically weak, that is when you've attached a thought pattern to the I. And that's when your experiences start defining in the same way. So your thought will be followed by the experiences that come in. That's when ego becomes negative. So we would have to let go of the thought pattern associated with the ego, not the ego. Ego is the sense of identity, I will repeat again. So you're letting go of the thought process. So the thought process that you have to let go is the world revolves around me or I revolve around the world. If you let go of these two patterns, it becomes much easier. In relationships, ego becomes a very big obstacle and a block for most of the couples or partners to overcome it. So a very first example that I would like to give is that during a relationship, individuals take their own decisions, which does affect the relationship and the other partner as well. So the first instinctive reaction of the partner would be, how could you make a decision without consulting me? And then it offends the other partner, and then the problems start, and then the arguments start, and the fights start. So a better way here would be to address in a very polite manner that I would like you to talk to me about your decisions because it affects our relationship too. Now, to dissociate completely from the I is very difficult because we have been doing it for years together. So before we get into relationships, 20 years we've been using the I. So I don't want you to completely let go, but slowly start taking different steps. So a different step would be here to give logic. And always remember that identify with the I just as a sense of identity for yourself rather than implicating your perspective on the other person. So when you stop forcing your perspective on the other person, then the ego goes down. That's when you realize that this is what I feel. The other partner or the person has a right to have an opinion, has a right to have a perspective. That's when the ego starts falling down and shedding in the relationship, not for yourself. So few tips that you should follow are, one, always see to it that, remember, ego is a sense of identity, not a place where you put forward your opinions and force it down to the other person. Two, if there are things which are not going down well with you, certain decisions, certain talks or certain aspects of the relationship, always first sit down, reason and logicalize it in your head first rather than reacting to it. Once you have a logic, present that particular logic to the partner. If the partner is emotionally sensitive, try and be kind when you are putting up the logic, because being kind is more important in the relationship rather than being right. When you're right and you're forcing the other person to believe it, you're still hurting the other person. But when you're kind and you put forward, this is what I feel, the other person opens up to listening to you. So be kind rather than being right. And I would like to end here with a small story. I think we must have heard it in the childhood. I'll just repeat it and refresh your memory. So there was a small bridge between the two forests. Now one day on the small wooden bridge there were two goats which came in. Both of them came and stood at the mid of the bridge. Now the first goat said that I need to cross the bridge first because I'm the eldest. The second goat said that I am supposed to cross the bridge here because I reached the midway first. And in this way they started with a heated discussion. They were locked horns and nobody was willing to listen, and within a few moments it began into a big fight wherein they started using their paws and hands and legs and hurting each other, and they landed up falling in the river. Now once again what happened was they were not willing to let go of the ego. Now scene 2 of this could be that one of the goats would have just bent down and the other one would have crossed the bridge. Now it does not matter who bends down in the relationship, because if you again think about that, every time I'm bending down, every time I'm the one who's apologizing, every time I'm the one who's saying sorry, you need to understand, when you keep getting these thoughts, you're again attaching a negative thought pattern to the I, to the ego, and you're giving life to that ego. And then in the end the relationship starts to completely break into pieces, and what remains is the ego. The ego will remain with you as a partner. Would you like that to be your partner, or would you want to have somebody in your life? So it's okay to bend sometimes. Be kind, be logical, and be nice. That's how we can deal with the ego in relationships. Thank you so much. You can also send us your questions on my email. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and you can subscribe to our channel. Thank you.